Have you ever found yourself in a networking event surrounded by strangers, feeling completely lost for words? Maybe you stood there, drink in hand, wishing that you could magically disappear. Or perhaps you had a conversation that started off well but quickly fizzled, leaving both you and your conversation partner in an awkward silence. Now, don't worry, you're not alone, because small talk is an essential skill, especially in today's world, where connections can open doors to new opportunities, both personally and, of course, professionally. So in this video, we'll explore real-time examples of how to initiate conversations in different situations, how to keep them engaging, and gracefully navigate those inevitable awkward moments. By the end, you'll feel equipped to handle small talk with confidence and fluency. So let's jump right in. Imagine that you're at a lively networking event. You spot someone standing alone, sipping their drink, and you see this as your chance. You approach them and say,
"Hi, I'm Alex. I noticed we both work in marketing. How are you finding the event so far?"
This opener is effective because it's friendly and it shows that you have a common interest. If they respond positively, you can follow up with an open-ended question like, "What projects are you currently excited about?" An open-ended question is a question that requires a kind of long answer, not just a yes or no answer. By asking open-ended questions, you shift the attention from you to them so they speak longer and you can just sit back and be a great listener. This not only keeps the conversation flowing, but it also gives them the space they need to share their own opinions and their own passions. Once they finish the answer, you have three options. You can either move on to another open-ended question. You can politely agree with their opinion, saying something like, "Those sound like great projects. I fully agree with your opinion about this project." Or you can share your own opinion, like, "That's great. I'm really looking forward to our environmental project, since it's so important to protect our natural resources these days." It really depends what your end goal is in every conversation, because we might have different kind of goals. Is it to get to know someone? Is it to sound professional because your manager is close and he's listening in on the conversation? Or is it to actually build a working relationship with someone and schedule an appointment with them? Depending on your goal, you can either be more laid back and ask open-ended questions, or push forward with your own agenda. Keep in mind, you can find all of these expressions in the description of this video. I have divided them into clear groups that you can use in your everyday business dealings. So feel free to check them out and copy them at the end of this lesson. Now, let's move on to a more casual setup. Imagine you're in a line in a coffee shop and the person in front of you, who is an important client of yours, has an interesting laptop sticker, a surfer on it. So you might say, "Hey, I couldn't help but notice your sticker. Are you a fan of surfing?" This is a fantastic way to break the ice in a laid-back environment. If they respond enthusiastically, you can follow up with, "What inspired you to get into that?" This keeps the momentum going and allows them to share more about their passion and their interests. Building on a relationship on a more personal basis is a great foundation to develop a more intimate working relationship because you have some things in common. Keep in mind that most people love to talk about two things. They like to talk about their favorite sports and hobbies, and they also like educating you on issues that they feel they're an expert in. So a follow-up question could also be, I've always been interested in learning how to surf, but not quite sure where to begin. And I don't even know if I can do it. Do you have any advice for a beginner like me? Now let's transition to a more professional setting, like a team meeting, for example. Picture this. You're sitting in a meeting and you say, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on this project. What do you think, Maria? By inviting others to share their opinions, you're not only encouraging collaboration, but you're also fostering a sense of community, of engagement. So after Maria shares her thoughts, you could also say, does anyone else have experience with this? This keeps the conversation inclusive and, of course, very engaging, as we said before. Use terms like input, feedback, and perspective to make your contributions more impactful. You might say, I appreciate everyone's input. It really adds to the perspective on this project. Now let's imagine you're in a meeting room with a client and the atmosphere feels a bit formal. As a team member, you want to break the ice and create a more relaxed, engaging environment. So you could start by saying, Hi, Peter, the client's name. It's great to finally meet you in person. I've heard so much about your recent projects and I really wanted to have the opportunity to talk to you. How has this project been going on? This approach shows genuine interest in the client's work and invites them to share their experiences on this project. When they do respond, you have to actively listen and engage with follow-up questions, something like, what inspired that project? Or what challenges have you faced along the way? As the conversation flows, you can add something light-hearted to further ease the tension and break the ice. For example, something you could say would be, I've always found that working on projects like that can be both very exciting, but also very daunting. I can only imagine the creativity and the amount of work that goes into it. Using phrases like exciting, challenges, and inspiration can make the conversation feel more engaging. So you might say, it's inspiring to see how your whole team approaches these challenges. I'd love to learn more about your strategies. To wrap up the ice-breaking moment, you can transition into the meeting agenda by saying, I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts today, especially on how we can support your goals moving forward. Now let's address those moments when the conversation suddenly hits a brick wall. Imagine you're chatting and there's an unexpected silence. Now instead of panicking, you can say, it seems like we've hit a quiet moment. Speaking of which, I recently learned about and start talking about an interesting topic like how your company is planning to expand globally. And say, have you heard of this? This keeps the dialogue flowing and can spark new interest. In such moments, using words like awkward, shift gears, surprising, can lighten the mood. For example, it's a bit awkward, but sometimes those moments can lead to the most surprising conversations. Another case could be when you realize that you've misunderstood something that they said. A graceful response would be, I think I misunderstood. Could you clarify what you meant by that? This shows that you're willing to engage and to learn. And once they clarify, you can respond with, that's really interesting. How did you get into that? This not only demonstrates your engagement, but it also encourages a deeper conversation. Okay, try incorporating words like clarification, intrigued, and context to enhance this kind of conversation. For example, thanks for the clarification. I'm really intrigued by your background in this area. As you navigate through conversations, it's essential to know how to wrap things up gracefully. Imagine you're chatting and you realize that it's time to move on. What could you say? You could say, I've really enjoyed our chat. Let's exchange contacts to continue this conversation at a later time. This leaves the door open for future interactions. Use phrases like follow up, connect, and network. For example, I'd love to follow up on this topic. Let's connect on LinkedIn. When it's time to leave a gathering, you could say, it was great meeting everyone. I need to head out, but I hope we can chat again soon. This conveys warmth and gratitude for the interaction. Use terms like pleasure, catch up, and future. For instance, it's been a pleasure meeting you all. I look forward to catching up in the future. So today we've explored practical real-life examples of how to navigate small talk with confidence and fluency. From starting conversations to handling awkward moments, these scenarios and phrases can empower you in various social and, of course, professional settings. Remember, the key to small talk is genuine engagement. The more you practice these examples, the more natural they will feel. Try them out in your daily life, whether you're at work, whether you're surrounded by friends or attending an event, and don't forget to share your experiences in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on all the next lessons on mastering your business English conversation skills. Thank you for watching and happy chatting.